Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is KPZ. Welcome back to the home of the slightly above average ship review. Got a slightly above average game today in the new Pan American Tier 4 Tech Tree light cruiser La Argentina. We're on Greece. It is a domination match, and we are top tier. There are aircraft carriers in the match. All right, La Argentina is a copy of a British Arethusa class cruiser asterisk. When I say copy, it's more like an enlarged copy that's been changed a little bit to fit the needs of the Argentinian Navy. All right, we're moving out. It's got this really interesting looking camouflage, which I don't mind because it may fool your opponent into thinking the front and rear of your ship are already damage saturated. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out something nice to say about the camouflage. All right, as you can see, our concealment is 10.5. We've got 4 charges of an absolutely worthless catapult fighter, 4 charges of a greater heal, meaning it can heal citadel damage, allegedly, and 5 charges of what I also consider a largely worthless upgrade to the sonar, seeing as the sonar is all very short range. You know, I gotta tell you, you can see we get a citadel hit on the Kirov over there, 11 kilometers away. I've got to tell you, I've been really happy with the long-range armor-piercing performance of these Pan-American cruisers. Not to mention that when you see the ship build in the port, you will be even more amazed because we took a significant hit for some reason to the armor pen of the AP at range. There we shoot some HE and briefly start a fire on the Kirov, and now we're behind a bunch of mountains. So we are going to try more armor piercing. So yeah, essentially what I'm saying, at least at the lower tiers, don't be afraid to shoot your armor piercing all the way across the map because it's not that bad. I'm having trouble tracking the Kirov over the hill and through the woods to Grandma's house, but that is what it is. All right, 16 kilometer main battery range with our build, not far enough to reach the carrier just yet. There is a Cordoba, that is a tier 3 cruiser out there that I'm keeping my eye on. Also a Kirov, which is now out of main battery range. So this Cordoba is kind of hiding behind the island here. I am going to try to shoot at him a little bit. While we're maneuvering, let's briefly discuss the history of ARA La Argentina Cruiser-3 C3. Light cruiser designed allegedly for training naval cadets, built for the Argentine Navy. Ship was authorized in 1934, contract put out in 1935, won by the Vickers Armstrong Company at a cost of 6 million pesos. No, I don't know how much that is in today's dollars. La Argentina was built in Barrow in Furness, England. She was laid down in January of 36, launched in March of 37, and not completed until January of 39. This is being delayed by the British Rearmament Program. Decommissioned in 1972 and scrapped. You would think it was around so long that they would have kept it, but I guess maybe Americans are really the only people who keep former ships around to look at them. I mean, I know that other countries have caught on to this idea and started having museum ships and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm just saying a lot of people probably trained on that ship. And, you know, I mean, aside from the Falklands, has Argentina really been involved in any wars? I don't know. I'm ignorant about South American war history, so maybe you can educate me in the comments. All right. It was a smaller version of the Amphion group. That's the Arethusa, pardon me, the ship this came from. It says it was a smaller version of the Amphion group of the early Leander class, but La Argentina was modified to meet the requirements for a training ship with 60 cadets. So it says La Argentina was an enlarged version of the Arethusa class armed with triple turrets. The Arethusa class, by the way, scrolling down, has twin mounts. They have 6 total guns, so they had 3 twin mounts. La Arethusa has 3 triple mounts. Just to give you an idea of the differences there. Anyway, the ship history basically consists of lots of training cruises, and I'm sure the standard issue grog twice a day. All right, here we're taking on La Cordoba or Caledon or whoever. Anyway, more Citadel hits. That's kills. Sorry, Cordova is farther away. I'm having to dodge repeated attention from the aircraft carrier. So I've also got a destroyer out there that we shot at least once. There's another Citadel hit, and then a Danae comes closer. So I'm like, yeah, let's kill the Danae. I don't think Cordoba is really a threat, mostly because I don't think that player knows what they are doing. He's been running away for the whole match. We're going to launch some torpedoes as a scare tactic there. I think the destroyer just got killed, so we got a hand job ribbon for that. Shooting again at Cordoba, we're going to take 1 torpedo on the rear, and then Danae decides to give me what I like to call the full broadside. We're burning down and flooding out at the same time. 3 Citadel hits on Danae. He doesn't change a thing. Thank you so much, sir. Another Citadel hit and another... Oh, that's our first kill. All right, Omaha over there. I don't know what happened to the Cordova at this point. I'm presuming he's dead. I'm hoping to get a kill on the Omaha, but my aiming is off. And finally, I'm at a point where my health is so low, I have to turn my attention to the Komsomolets. And so we're going to be shooting HE, another Citadel hit, Confederate metal. I am going to do the not recommended running away maneuver while shooting at the Komsomolets because he keeps sending torpedo planes at me and I don't wish to die. But then my rudder got stuck because I'm an idiot and we just kept going in a circle. And I don't think these torpedoes, I don't think he dropped actually. He held that drop because I did this extremely confusing looping maneuver and he was nonplussed. All right, we're going to get that greater heel going. Still shooting at the Komsomolets, who is running away. We are not going to be able to outrun his torpedoes because I'm not maneuvering to avoid them. And we take a couple of torpedo hits there. Continuing to shoot down airplanes, by the way. We have 18 airplanes shot down. I will note that none of them are from our catapult fighter. Wargaming, please, please, please allow any ship with AA that also has the catapult fighter to swap out the catapult fighter for DFAA. The catapult fighter is fucking worthless. It's goddamn worthless. And this match is proof. I am shooting down airplanes left and right, and none of them are from my catapult fighter. Fuck the catapult fighter. Alright. Continuing to shoot at Komsomolets, we switched to HE because he is fully running away now. And we're finally going to get that honk noise and our second kill. And we added in a dreadnought medal at the very end, which I deserved, every bit of it. All right, here we are on my favorite screen, the victory screen. Confederate medal, dreadnought medal, 59,676 total damage, 109 May battery hits, 3 handjob ribbons, 19 airplanes shot down with what you will see is not that great AA. 2 kills, 3 fires, and 11 Citadel hits. And we ended up with 316,721 silver, 8,800 ship XP, 9,200 commander XP in La Argentina. And there you can see Joaquim Marquez Lisboa, our fancy new commander with his fancy uniform. All right, here we are at the top of the board. 2 medals, 2 kills, 2320 base XP, leading the way for our team. I will note the aircraft carrier on our team, the Hein, had 3 kills, probably the kills that I got assisted ribbons for. Maybe? Don't know. All right, let's go back to the port, take a look at the ship. All right, in terms of upgrades, you can see we're in early access still. We went with Aiming System Mod 1, and because of this match, ship's fully upgraded and it actually is all wreathed up. We've got HE, AP, and torpedoes, unlimited charges of the damage control party, 5 charges of the very short range, quote unquote, advanced sonar, 4 charges of what is being termed a greater heal, 4 charges of the absolutely fucking worthless catapult fighter, epic ship XP booster. Now that we have a wreath around our ship, we can remove that because we don't need any more ship XP. And the rare battle booster for movement speed and cooldown time. Got the special and fashionably questionable Ancestor's Path, one of the ugliest camouflages I've ever seen in my life, and the 1 year strong flag. Survivability, 23,900 hit points, a 4% torpedo damage reduction, and a 17% fire resistance with our build. Main battery, 3 triple 152s, 16 kilometer range, which is a big boost from stock with our build. 8.5 second reload time. The main battery turns in 18 seconds, shell grouping value of 2. Somehow I have a huge hit to dispersion. HE shells do 2100 max damage with a 9% fire chance. They pen 25 millimeters of armor. AP shells do 2550 max damage, pen 320 millimeters at point blank range, and another big hit, just 94.5 millimeters at max range. That's over 20 point decrease. And pen 25 millimeters to arm the fuse there. All right, secondary armament, 4 individual 102s, shoot out to 4.2 kilometers, reload every 3 seconds, shell grouping value of 1, dispersion all slightly better. HE shells do 1500 max damage with a 6% fire chance and pen 17 millimeters of armor. Perfect for destroyers at this tier. 2 triple tube launchers, 8 kilometer range, a pedestrian 61 knots, reload in 72 seconds. The max damage is 14,862, which seems pretty nice. The detectability is 1,300 meters, and the torpedoes arm in under 200 meters. AA defense, well, as effective as it was, I don't think it's very great. Your secondaries are dual purpose and your longest reaching AA out to 5 km. Your best AA, these 6 twin 25 millimeter Vickers guns, which do 74 damage per second. Just a 2.5 kilometer range, but again, as you saw in that match, pretty effective. Maneuverability, 30.9 knots in the water, 610 meter turning circle, 6.8 second rudder shift time, pretty big chunk knocked off there. Concealment, 10.5 on the surface, 7 from the air, 5.4, pardon me, if you should ever find yourself in a smoke screen. Taking a look at the stats, well, we've only won 33% of our matches, 36% main battery accuracy, 10% torpedo accuracy. Most of our kills via the way of the main guns. We're averaging 1.5 kills per match, also just 32k damage. The last match was clearly our best match in La Argentina. I would note that coincides with me putting that new commander into the ship. Prior to this, I was using the base commander. All right, take a look at the armor viewer. You have a large above water citadel. Eventually, we will discover the armor plating is a quite beefy 69 millimeters. This plate at the front, I think, is like 34 or 38 millimeters. That's probably at the back. It's 34 in the front. Anyway, that is what it is. Bow plating, 13 millimeters. The turret faces are somewhat heavily armored at 51 millimeters, but the sides of the turrets and the barbettes are trash. The rest of the stuff is just easily penned by just about anything. All right, sure shot. Sure, I'll agree with that. Greater heal means it can heal citadel damage, allegedly. Sure, why not? Advanced sonar. We'll rate this all mostly true. Blah, 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 blah. And that history stuff all appears mostly true. Although it doesn't say when it was decommissioned, but I told you that already. All right, so yeah, and there's a look at that camouflage, which is certainly a choice. All right, Joaquim Marquez Lisboa, base trait, right hand of the crown, increases consumable duration. We inspired him with Kuznetsov for range and Hai Hashiro for cooldown time of the consumables. And it's all about consumables and range. Row 1, beyond range. Row 2, the unique skill peace is not an option. Increases the duration of the consumables and gives a max duration of 20% and gives you an extra consumable charge. In row 3, we went with another unique skill, quasi-unique skill, Die Hard. Torpedo launcher, main battery, secondary battery reload time is increased per percentage of hit point lost. The time reduction for the cooldown is reduced and something I can't see in time. Sonar cooldown, sonar duration, and sonar charges are increased with acoustic chamber and fully packed for more consumable charges. So basically I built into main battery range and then all of the consumables because these ships aren't really good at a whole lot else. So there it is. Love to hear your comments below. I'll see you next time.